Hey, hello guys, welcome to Network Beats. This is Tangudurai. In this video, again, we are just going to continue the same topic what we have seen in the last video, which is MED. Because, in last scenario, we have played the MED attribute. Let me show you. Sorry. Okay, here it is, the previous topology where we have worked on with MED. So in that video, we have configured MED on this router so that we were seeing how we have influenced the traffic which was coming towards R1, right? So we were choosing this either one of this path to make that as a best path by configuring the MED. So this is one part that we have seen, and the next part we have started configuring MED on this router towards this ISP, making either one of them as a primary path, and then later we have also switch over from one ISP to the other ISP by doing the metric, right? But in this video, it is quite different what we have done in the last video, and also I'm going to show you something here. Let me first tell you what is the objective in this video. Here, from this router, this is what the router we are going to play with. We'll be configuring the MED on router 4, and from here we are just going to propagate the MED towards this AES-123, and we are going to ensure whether that MED value is being propagated to all the routers inside that AES-123 or not, because MED, we know it is a optional transitive attribute, right? So that means if I am sending a MED attribute to the directly connected neighbor, let's say this is a eBGP peering. When a eBGP neighbor is updating MED, so the R2 or R3 to whom we are updating that, so that particular MED information will be passed throughout the AES routers. Okay, but this information will not be passed to AS500. This is just limited to AS123. So that is how it is being designed, and it is being implemented. Okay, so let me just repeat it. So if we are configuring MED, okay, and we are trying to advertise from one AS to the other AS, then that MED information will be exchanged throughout all the routers in that particular autonomous system number. But that MED information will not be again re-exchanged with any other AS. So that means R1 or R3 will not be advertising that MED information to AS500, right? So this is what it is. Let's get into our lab, and we'll see how it is going to work. And also I think this lab, when I have practiced, also we had few scenarios where we were troubleshooting why it was not working. So keep attention guys, because if you miss anything, then you will be lost and you don't know what we are doing. And we are not sure, maybe tomorrow, if you're going for an interview, you may get up with this particular question and how to troubleshoot such scenarios in the real time. So it will be helpful for your interview if you are appearing for uh, anything which is coming in for you. Okay, so let's get into this lab. So here it is. This is new topology, and already I have configured the IP addresses and the BGP neighborship configuration everywhere. So directly we can jump in with our concepts. Let me show IP BGP summary with R4. We have two neighbors. One is R2 and R3, which is R2 and R3. Yeah. And here we have R1, R6, R2, R3 in AS123. That is great. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to advertise, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to advertise my uh, loopback prefixes which is connected with R4 with certain metrics, right? So let's say on this path I'm going to use a metric of let me first look into which is the best path. Show IP BGP in order to reach R1 prefix. Let's say um, through R2 it is the best path. So this is how it is going as of now. Okay, so also let's verify that by doing trace route 1.1.1.1 source loopback 0. Okay, so from R4 it is going to R2 and then it is going to R1. So let's change this default behavior. Okay, so that means whenever I configure MED on this direction, uh, obviously this path is going to prefer, because by default metric is 0, so lower metric is always highly preferred. So in this case this path will be preferred, but instead of doing in that way, what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure a metric value something over here and some metric value over here, and I'm going to ensure that this metric is not greater than this, so that this lower metric will be always preferred as a more preferred over this particular path towards R2. So in that way, let me configure here the metric as 111, and here let me configure the metric as 222, so that it is easy for us to remember. Okay, 111 that is towards R4, and that means via R3, and 222 via R2, something like that. So let's go to our R4. What I'm going to do, configure terminal. Let me create a route map. Okay, so let me give a name called MED RM. RM is nothing but route map. Permit 100. Sorry, permit 100. And let me give a set metric, and I'm going to tell that let us use, okay, let us use here, 1 minute, let me remove this first. Let us give MED, and let us put the value 111 route map permit 10, and set metric, because we have to create two different route map in order to set these things. So here I'm just going to set the metric 111, right? Okay, and similarly here we are going to match everything, and similarly we are going to create the another route map with 222, and we are going to do set metric 222. So we are done with the route map. Let's go and call this route maps under each neighbors. Okay, and why we are configuring MED, if you guys remember, in order to influence how the traffic should come in for AS400, right? So that is our objective, because by configuring MED we are saying here, okay, uh, the traffic which is coming in to AS400, that need to be manipulated as per my objective. Here my objective is whatever the traffic is coming in from R1, it has to go via R3 however it is, and if this path is not available, then any of this path should be used as a secondary path. Okay, so that is what my objective here it is. Okay, so here let's go and apply that route map what we have just configured. So do show run section BGP. Here, okay, we got two neighbors, right? So the neighbor R2 we have to set 222 route map. So neighbor R2, and MED 222 route map here, and we know in order to influence the incoming traffic we have to set this route map in the outbound direction, and basically we are advertising the prefixes 444 and 44, 44, 44 with this particular metric value. So obviously we have to, since we are advertising it out, we have to use here the direction as outbound. Sorry, here we have to use route map. Okay, so here for the next neighbor, which is neighbor router 3, and route map, we are going to use 111 route map, right? And same, it is outbound direction. And just remember that before doing this configuration, our traffic, the outgoing traffic was like this 24, that means it was going through router 2. Let's go to router 1, and before clearing the BGP routes, let me also try doing trace route for this particular prefix. Okay, sorry guys, it was my bad. Trace route 44, 44, 44, 44. Okay, I think I have to do it from the source loop back 0, otherwise my traffic won't be going. Okay, it has already taken the changes whatever we have just made. I could see because the traffic is going via R3, because it was not that speed when I was practicing before, even in our previous videos, but it took the changes very fast. So let's go and verify that show IP BGP. So here I'm seeing these metric informations are already populated, right? So this for this 4 network, via router 3 is the best path. Why? Because it has lower MED comparatively the path via router 2, because that has the MED value of 222, right? So okay, let's go and verify in R4. Here, remember guys, whenever you are doing any changes related to MED, you won't be seeing anything on router 4, because this is the router that you are trying to advertise your prefixes with a metric information like how we have configured. So you are sending this update out of R4. So whatever you have done, the metric configuration, that will be reflected to your neighbor routers but not on your local router. Okay, so if you have done anything wait or local preference, then you can see that information on router 4, but not uh, about the, but you cannot see the metric or AS path prepending information on router 4. So that you need to be clear. Okay, because you don't just listen to this. Once you listen to this video, just go and practice by doing that, so that you'll understand exactly how these attributes are working. So let's go to R2 and R3, and just we'll see whether we are able to see that. Okay, show IP BGP. Okay, I am seeing that metric information 2222, right? For 4 and for 44. And let's go to R3, and I'm seeing show IP BGP. So we are seeing the information about 111, right? The metric, whatever we are advertising. Once R2 and R3. Okay, you may ask why I'm not seeing 111 metric on R2, why I'm seeing only 222 metric, right? So that may be the question that you guys will come up with in your mind while seeing this, because listen, BGP, let's say if R1, okay, I think I don't want to confuse on the same topology, because it will make you confuse very easily. So let's say I have 3 routers in the same autonomous system number, and they are connected each other like this. And let's say it is router 1, router 2, router 3. When router 1 is advertising something, okay, not something, router 1 will advertise whatever it seems best to him as per his BGP table. That update will be exchanged with router 2. Router 1 may have n number of details about the n number of prefixes, right? But he is not going to send everything to R2. In that n number of prefixes and prefixes information only which is best as per router 1, only that information is going to get exchanged with R2. And similarly, R2 will be having a number of prefixes and its prefix information, and only whichever is best as per R2 that will be exchanged with R2 and also sorry R3 as well as R1. Okay, basically what I'm trying to say is only the best and valid path will be advertised to its neighbor. So that means now the question here is R1 is advertising. Okay, so that is why he is receiving triple two. So why R2 is not seeing triple one? In the sense we have to receive either this triple one information from R1 or R6, right? So let's go to R1 and see what is his best path. Show IP BGP, right? So let's take a 4 prefix. As per R1, he is saying this is a best path. So he will be advertising only this information to R2, right? When he received from R3, he's going to only advertise the best path information to R2. So he will not be sending this information, right? So in that case, yes. So R2 should see this particular metric, but I'm not sure why he's not seeing that. Let's troubleshoot that. Uh, Show IP BGP neighbor 12.0.0.2 and then advertise routes. That means I'm just trying to see what I'm advertising to my neighbor. Okay, so there is a prefix here which is not getting advertised to R2. This is a bit strange. Okay, let's see why it is not coming over there. Okay, basically, let's think in this way, right? So he is not advertising the prefixes whichever he is learning from R4, right? So what could be the issue? So the issue could be, let me remove everything. Okay, so the issue could be what? So EGP peer is advertising its prefixes to R3, right? Because R3 and R4 are EBGP peers, and now R3 and R1 are IBGP peers, right? So R3 will update the prefixes, whatever he received through the EBGP peer to R1 since he is directly connected IBGP peer. But R1 will not be advertising that to R6 or even R2 because of the split horizon rule, right? If you remember in our previous video that we have discussed how the split horizon, that means how the loop prevention will work in BGP environment. So because of this, that reason R1 will not be sending any updates whichever is being received from R3 to R6 and R2. So because of that reason, maybe R2 is not receiving that. Let's go and check in R6 whether he is receiving it or not. Here also I'm just seeing triple two information only, but not the triple one information. So it's time to go and check the routing configuration of the R1 BGP. So show run section BGP. So let's say if it is an issue, how we can overcome? First, we have to either we can do it with route reflector or configuration, but we haven't seen the concept of configuration yet, so that we'll be seeing in our upcoming video. So only we know how to configure the route reflector till date. So if it is not done, let's go and do the configuration of the route reflector, and we'll verify whether it is working or not. Okay, so I do not see any configuration for route reflector at all in R1, right? So let's go and do that. Before that, just have a look guys in R6. This is the only information that we have. So in R1, let me go and configure a route reflector for R6. My neighbor 6 is, this is my neighbor, and he is my route reflector client. So hereafter, I'm going to send whatever the update that I'm receiving through R3. I am good to forward it to R2. Okay, so I'm good. So in that case, let's go to R2. Am I right? Sorry, I was showing you R6 configuration. Sorry, guys. So this is what till now that we are receiving in R2. Let's go and check clear IP BGP star soft, and let's do show IP BGP. See here, guys. Now we are receiving what? We are seeing both the information about 111 and 222. That means it is simple, right? So MED, whatever we are advertising, it has to be exchanged to all the routers within the same areas. That that is what we have discussed before starting our lab. And now, so previously, if you see, this was a best path, right? The through triple two, right, for 4 and even for 44 network. But if you see now, for 4, triple one is the best path. That means from router 2, in order to reach 4 network, that means, let me remove everything. From router 2, in order to reach 4 network, the best path is via router 3. That means how our router 2 can reach router 3 in this way, right? So this is how it is going to work whenever any request has come to R2 in order to reach router 4. So now R2 is fixed. If you go and see R6, this information is still there with only triple one. Okay, you may ask the question like, sorry guys. Okay, what is happening here? Sorry. So what is happening here? So the question was, okay, sir, you have told router 4 is sending update to R3. It is fine. R3 is good to advertise R1, but R1 will not be advertising that to R6 as well as R2. Okay. So after doing route reflector configuration, now R2 is receiving the information from R1. That is okay. But why R6 is not receiving? Okay, that is my question. Why R6 is not receiving? That means here in R6, if you see, so R6 was not receiving this triple one information, if you guys remember, right? R2 was not receiving triple one information, but R6 does. But R6 is not receiving which information? Triple two information. That means which has to come from router 2. That is what R6 is not receiving. The why he's not receiving that means, I'll tell you. Let's go and check this again with R1. Show IP BGP, and what is that neighbor here, 16006 advertised routes. So these are the information that I am advertising to R6, which is from R1. So what is the configuration that have for router 6? Router 6 basically I don't have anything. I am supposed to receive, okay, let me give me a minute. Triple one, actually this is triple one, right? And this is triple two. R6 supposed to receive this update, but R6 is receiving triple one but not triple two. I'm just surprised why it is receiving that. Okay, so it could be it could be okay. I think initially R6 was not receiving anything. Okay, once we have done the configuration, the route reflector configuration on R1, right? So this is how R2 is advertising that particular information to R6. Okay, that's good. Now, why I am seeing this information? Okay, let's go to R2. Okay, and we'll check show IP BGP neighbor 26006 advertised routes. I'm just advertising only these two routes to R6 from R2. What is the issue? Sure, and section BGP from R2. There is no issue actually in order to advertise the prefixes whatever R2 is learning to R6. But the problem is show IP interface brief pipeline include up. I'm just verifying the links are good. 16 connectivity to 2 and 1 are good. Okay, in R2, okay, which is 26. He's next of self, that is fine. And okay, and in R6, okay, in R6, okay, this is the reason, right? Okay, in R6, okay, see here, guys. Actually, this is quite strange because this is what the configuration with R6. I didn't aware of this previously that I have configured, but later I have removed that that which I have played with this. So I forgot to remove. That is why we are seeing the strange behavior on R6. So let me just remove this route reflector configuration over R6. Okay, so then we'll check because it is not required because R6 cannot be route reflector, right? At this moment, what is the point of having R6 as a route reflector server? It is not required. So let's go and remove these two commands. And let's just clear BGP tables and let's give show IP BGP and let's see, all good, right? Because here let us go and check he's receiving all the information, right? So now R2 is updating these prefixes, but we are not yet done. Why? Because in R1, because it should be a R6 should be a route reflector client for R1. That's how R1 can start advertise the prefixes to R6. If you go to R1 and check show IP BGP neighbor 16.006 advertise route, it is just going to advertise what it has or whatever R3 is advertising. But the prefixes whichever is coming, let's go and see that. Okay, see here the 4 and 44. Why he's going to update this to R6? I don't have any clue because sure and section BGP in R1 we haven't said that R6 is a route reflector client. If we haven't said that, there is no chance. Okay, this is the issue. Okay, we have configured route reflector client for R6 but not for R2. Okay, show IP BGP. Okay, so this is what the I think you guys are getting confused, right? I'm sorry, guys. We are just juggling around these routers. Okay, so the things are pretty clear now. If you see R1, the configuration has been done for router 6, not for router 2. Because of that, router 2, if you look at the BGP table, we are not receiving any information about 111. We are only receiving the information about 222, which is this information. So what we have to do, we have to go and configure R2 as a route reflector for R1. So let's go and do that. Configure terminal, uh, router BGP, and then let's make the neighbor is 12002, and let me say he's a route reflector client. Okay, all the issues started with R6 because of these commands, so that we have already removed it. Okay, it is supposed to be done on router 1. So okay, fine, no problem, because always getting stuck up with any issue and getting troubleshooted, but after fixing those issue, that is good for us to get it practiced. Okay, so we are done, and let's go and check the advertised routes for R2. Okay, these are the routes that I'm advertising to R2, and what are the information that I'm advertising to R6, and these are the informations. Let's go and check R2's BGP table. I'm pretty receiving both the information about 111 and 222, right? All good. So our objective is successful. That means I have, let me remove these guys. What we have done, just we have set a metric of 111 over via router 3, and we have set metric 222 via router 2, and we have just advertised that information throughout AS 123 without doing anything. That means not without doing anything. You should have the proper configuration in place in AS 123. Otherwise, you guys going to be in the trouble, because you will not be getting the result as we are expecting as per our objective, because we have seen there were a route reflector configuration was in place on router 6 unnecessarily. That was creating huge issues, like we were not seeing the proper results on R2 BGP table and R1 BGP table. Finally, after fixing all these issues and making the proper route reflector configuration on R1 for R6 and R2, now we are able to see the information what we supposed to look like. So let's go and verify how the traffic is now. So let me try reaching R4 from R1, right? Trace route 44, 44, 44, 44, source loopback 0. It is preferring the path via R3, right? And also let's verify the same from router 6 as well. It is going to do the same. Okay, it is not preferring the path via R2, it is preferring the path via R3. Let's go and verify the same even on the router 2, which is directly connected to router 4. It is still considering the path via R3. Why? Because if you go and check the BGP table, show IP BGP, so here the 44, the best path is via R3 because of the lowest MED which we have configured, right? So this is how that we are influencing how the traffic should be coming into AS400 by doing the configuration on the R4, and also we should have the proper configuration in place in AS123, right? So I think hope you guys understood this concept, and if you have any doubts, just leave your questions in the comment section. I'll try to help you out as soon as possible, or just give me some times. And if you really like this content, please subscribe to my channel and give a like. So thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.